You agreed to extend the suspension, so you obviously would have applied your mind to the request to extend the extension, and you considered it appropriate and within the prescripts. You now get a call from the city manager, who is not an HR person. She's not an HR. You are the HR boss in Ekurhuleni. She's not that. She's your client when it comes to matters of HR, right? You're nodding, yes. You've considered and you found there is merit to extend. That's what you agree with, Mr. Ngiza. You were prepared to do it. The city manager who is a layperson on issues like this, gives you an instruction to not to extend, to actually uplift the extension. You do not even let it lapse. You write a letter, you say it's not being extended. You change your mind because you get an instruction. And my question is, and DPSA has nothing to do with it. She hasn't told us that she looked at the DPSA, as Mr. Chaskalson says. She says she relied on your advice. And I accept that you say that's not true. So we know from what she said in testimony that she didn't apply her mind to it at all. According to her, she depended on your advice. What did you consider to make her instruction to be reasonable, that you comply with it?
It was the first part of, as I say, our debate and discussion was on the first part of 16.4, that the disciplinary process must take place within 3 months. And at that time...
Did you, let me short circuit this. Did you advise the city manager not to extend? Because that's what she says.
No.
Right, so it can be both. You have to choose that, yes, I advised her that it's okay not to extend, or I was acting on instruction. She ordered me that we will not extend. It's one of the two.
Respectfully, Commissioner, I don't think there will be two possibilities in this situation. And I appeal for your indulgence to hear what I'm getting at. I'm saying let's extend and conclude so that EMPD can conclude the matter. She says, and I was consistent yesterday, she says, why did HR not complete this process? You've concluded the investigation. You are it's at an advanced stage. That's what my statement says. Therefore, there is no need for you, HR, to extend the suspension. Mr. Mkwanazi must come back to work. This is where things went.
Which then makes me ask, and again, it's about, I'm going to use the word competence because I can't think of another word now. It then raises questions about your own competence then, that you initially agreed. So you would have considered those things that you now say came from the city manager. You would have considered them, otherwise you're incompetent, that you didn't think, oh, they have conducted the investigation, they're close to finishing. It's actually not necessary to keep the extension, the suspension in place. If you did not consider those factors, then it says something about your competence. If you considered them, and then the city manager simply repeats them to you, you still have to say, why did you consider her to be superior to you in terms of reasoning or factors to be taken into account? And so I'm back to, it's one or the other. You considered them, and you satisfied yourself that this can be extended. That's why you agreed with Mr. Ngiza. Something else happens, and it cannot be the city manager repeated the same things to you. Something else happened that made you change your mind because you already had a view. She can't repeat the same thing and then you say, yeah, because it comes from the city manager, it's reasonable.
Chair, through you, I'm saying there are discussions that are taking place. Initially, I satisfied myself. We do extend, sometimes we don't extend. That's how it is, based on how far the investigation is.
So there was no instruction from the city manager. You had a debate and she persuaded you differently. There was no instruction from her.
I think you're battling to hear me. That's why I'm really trying to...
I'm not. I'm not battling to hear you. I understand you. I hear and I understand you perfectly. You either had an instruction from the city manager or you did not. You now speak about a debate. And I say, well, you either acted because of an instruction, which you say, I must comply with, or you debated. You had formed a view, you debated, and she persuaded you differently. In the latter case, it's not an instruction. If the latter happened, then there was no instruction from the city manager, then she's right when she says, I never gave an instruction. Or she did give you an instruction. And it takes us back to, well, why did you think this was a reasonable instruction? But forget that second part of why do you think it's a reasonable instruction is I'm saying to you, you either were persuaded different, and there's nothing wrong. If you had started with that, without saying she instructed me, if you had started with, yes, I formed a view, but when I had a conversation with the city manager, I actually saw things differently. I think that would have been the end of this debate with you. But that's not what you say. You say you got an instruction and she's not telling the truth when she said she never instructed you.
Thank you, Chair. I've said from yesterday, I'm really trying to be slow because I think maybe yesterday I was rushing and I was not heard properly. You will debate issues with her. She will give you an instruction. I think that's the part I need you to hear. She will give you an instruction. And if I was not competent, I'll just say, yes, boss, and then move with it. I will advise against the instruction where I'm uncomfortable. We'll engage, and I've said most of the time you find out that legally she's equipped. After the debate, she will still say, I am saying to you, do this and that. And I wanted to talk to the competence issue because now you've raised it. And hence yesterday I've said, before and after the instruction has been given, I engage on issues because you cannot be at my level where you are told, do this, you say yes, but I've been very consistent on that. Instructions are given, I debate, and I'm still told you're gonna go and do it this way. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful when I was saying you can test her character to the highest level. She will allow you to debate, but after debate, what she has said must happen, must happen. I don't think, I'm finishing, between me, Chief of Police, Xolani, Advocate Kemi, we don't even know, I don't know Mkhwanazi. I started knowing Mkhwanazi during this case. I don't think all of us would want to shield Mkhwanazi, and I don't think we had any reason to shield Mkhwanazi.
The suggestion is you were shielding him to please the city manager. That's the evidence. That's a complaint against you. It is, you may not have known him. Maybe you met him for the first time at the city of Ekurhuleni. That's not even the conversation. The complaint against you is you did not, firstly, you uplifted his suspension because you were pleasing the city manager and you were rewarded for it financially. 2, you did not do anything. You frustrated or contributed to the frustration of the disciplinary process against him because you were doing the city manager's bidding and you were rewarded for it. That's the accusation against you. So it doesn't help for you to say, I didn't know him. We're looking at your conduct where there's a clear case of serious misconduct, serious, which in another forum should see Commissioner Mkhwanazi go to jail. You become aware of it. You see the charge sheet, it's serious matter. You say, well, they made an agreement, I wasn't involved with it. You say I was instructed. You say I did a forensic investigation, which has nothing to do with the charges. And the explanation from your colleagues who have testified is your role in all of this is explained by you were working with a city manager who was protecting, they say. She was protecting Mkhwanazi. You helped her, and you got rewarded for it. Those are the allegations against you.
Let me give you an example that is sensitive. Beyond this, I won't say much. Today, in 2023, I think that was the first month we suspended Mkhwanazi. My mom passed on. The following weekend, she was buried. On Sunday. Monday, I was called to come back to work. And I said, on Mondays, since in Beki, because we bury on Sunday, I was told if I'm not back at work the following day, I'll be dealt with. That was around 4 o'clock on Monday, that conversation. I had to drive from Queenstown to here, to Joburg. Didn't sleep, I'm a firstborn at home. Never slept. When we're driving, my husband had to stop me while we were sleeping at Bloemfontein because you are tired and the car keeps on getting out of the road. The following day, I was in the office doing interviews. I've never mourned my mom. On top of that, 5 days were deducted from my salary for burying my mother. So in that period, between February and up to the end of 2023, why would I be loyal to such a person? So I really want this misperception that says some of us were loyal to Dr. Mashazi to be seen differently. It wasn't about loyalty. It was about how we advise and if our advice is taken or not taken. And I thought yesterday I was assisting myself and the commission when I said there's an executive authority, Ekuruleng, and ultimately she's fully accountable in everything that is done. And I'm refuting anything that says in that year I was loyal to Dr. Mashazi, whereas I went through what I went through. What I'm saying to the commission, we debated on matters. We debated on instructions. Ultimately, she will hear you. Hence, I'm saying get somebody who's not involved. Leave all of us. Bring another witness who's going to tell you that after debate, she will still have her word done. I really, hence I said yesterday, even on the issue of our increases, she came to me and said, why is Meral supporting you? She pushed it because maybe she had no choice. We did a motivation. It went to the remuneration committee. It went to Meral. That is the loyalty issue. Maybe we're loyal to the authority, the position, not the individual. And lastly, Commission, I want to leave here with a clear tone. Instructions are given. I advise. After advising, if there's an ultimate instruction given, you have to comply. And it's 4 of us, against her or against Julius Mkwanas. You have to understand the complexity, and the only way you're going to be assisted is to bring somebody else who is not involved in this matter to deal with it. Thank you, Chair.
I think the issue, the Chair earlier on raised it as someone at your level of seniority, that you're executing instructions like this. And hence my question earlier to you, what is reasonable about the instruction? Because you say, I comply with reasonable instructions. Now, if an instruction is unreasonable and you still comply with it, it makes us ask questions about you and why you would do that which you did. So that's the context or the prism within which you should look at this, that you are employed, you're a Section 56 employee, as I understand. The decision to employ you is not the city manager's decision, as I understand these things. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The decision to fire you is not the city manager's decision. Ultimately, she can lay a complaint against you and you get disciplined, but it's not her decision. And then you are making these decisions, you become party to decisions that do not make sense, because it does not make sense that you ordered the upliftment, and you ordered it because it's in your letter, it's in your handwriting, in the same way that you keep saying, well, Chief Mapieye wrote the letter, and therefore it's him. It applies to you too. You wrote the letter uplifting the suspension. It's not good enough, is the point at least that I'm making. For someone of your seniority, it's not good enough to say, I acted on instruction. It's not. You're supposed to bring to bear your professional guidance on matters like this. Nowhere does it record you disagreed with the city manager. Nowhere. Nowhere does it say, you don't give us an email, you don't give us a memorandum, you don't give us a WhatsApp message that says, I disagreed and I told her that I disagree with this, but I implemented because she instructed me and said she'll deal with me if I don't. What we have is her saying she acted on your advice. That's what's on record. With you, we do have a footprint of your letter uplifting the suspension. So it's you who uplifted the suspension. And you must take accountability. And in the same way that you say Chief Mapiaye should take accountability for his letter, even if he says I was pressured, he must take accountability because he wrote that letter and signed it off, stopping the disciplinary process. Same applies to you. Take accountability for, yes, I uplifted the suspension. Yes, I was wrong to follow that instruction because it was an unreasonable instruction. Not try and justify it as we debated, and then she then at the end of it said, I'm instructing you. Say she instructed me, and I should not have followed that instruction. That's all we are asking you to do, is accept it's a wrong instruction to uplift the suspension where the city manager overrides your position. It was a wrong instruction for her to give you, and you should not have followed it. You did follow it, but do at least own up to it and say, I should not have followed that instruction.
Chair, through you, I think it becomes very difficult when we have to concede on issues when you contemplate them differently. And while you put your statement here, I've been very consistent that instructions are given, I do advise, and I do debate on issues. Ultimately, if it's reasonable, and the reason I'm saying it's reasonable to me, extending for 6 months, it's the right thing to do. But where the problem is with that clause, it says within 3 months, finish the disciplinary process. And if you don't finish it within 3 months, the employee must come back to work. In exceptional circumstances, you can extend it. When I signed the first one, I agreed to sign the extension. It was based that at least you can stay up to 6 months. And there are circumstances where we say employees come back because the process has advanced. And I've said yesterday, I want the context. I will accede where I have to accede, but I really wanted the context to be given in the sense that 3 months was concluded. And HR did, in our space, have irregularities. I'm taking that Dr. Mashazi is wrong. If you want me to say I could have done things better, I will do so. But we also played a critical role on that process not being concluded. And I'm not sure then when I was testifying here if all this will be integrated and before decisions are made. But I'm appealing to the Commission that when iterations are made, can we at least also talk to the context of how the matters have been discussed? The process was frustrated, I get that. And I'm saying we could have done things better. And it's really a pity, I'm gonna repeat before I concede to this, that Dr. Mashazi wouldn't know all these things. As we decide to wake up and protect Julius, what for? And I wouldn't want to get to a situation where my competencies are being challenged without me trying to put a context on my side, Chairperson. I wouldn't want to. Hence, I keep on saying, whereas instructions are made, are discussed, a person is advised, but ultimately, if you are a decision maker, you can even override what I'm saying and write your own letter, or I assist and write the letter. Kolani drafted the upliftment, and I signed it, and 3 months have passed. Kolan decided when the 3 months have passed to still think, do I discipline or I don't discipline? Those things must be taken into context.
Thank you.
I'm appealing with you.
Thank you, Mr. Shekhar.